Babu Owino. Gentlemen, let me start with you, Didi, real quick. Look, why are you so uneasy with your party? Since, you know, it's not so long ago, you were the blue-eyed boy of UDA. Kwani kuliendaje?
Jeff, I think you should ask the party that, because I think it's the party that deviated. Because when we were campaigning and I had a chance even to come here to sell our agenda, I think the party wholesomely is the one that has deviated from what we were to do. I've spoken on several things, but the primary ones is around the economy. We told Kenyans that we are not going to borrow the kind of money we are borrowing now, that we'd go through on borrowing, because for sustainable development, it's not just about spending now, but also about the future of our economy. Also, we were to give education the primacy it deserves. I don't think now that party is doing what we sold to the Kenyan people, and especially when it comes to the funding for in terms of education. And holistic things like, for example, what you are doing in terms of dissent. People are having alternative voices, as we have seen, especially with the young people, what has been happening. So I think once you get the representatives of the party, it's good that you pose that question to them, because I still believe in the same things we sold to the Kenyan people, and I believe they are the right things to do, whoever is in power.
Are you disappointed then with your party?
I am disappointed, and especially on the same things I've told you about. I am very keen about the economy, because for all the countries that we may admire to be like, all of them, the Asian tigers, the Western countries, what makes the country to be categorized as progressive is how it performs in terms of the economy. And we have not been doing very well. And let me give you just so that you see, and especially between what is sold and what I think we should be doing. Whatever you do economically speaking, the outcomes speak for themselves in terms of the figures. And I'm saying that because I have been seeing that we are investing too much on PR, selling a story, other than just doing the work to speak for itself. The economy of Kenya is growing at 4.9% this year, last year actually of 2025. The figures are still being corroborated, but that is the projection. But if you judge Kenya based on the region, Uganda is growing faster than us. It will grow between 6 and 6.5% in the year 2025. Tanzania is growing faster than us. Rwanda, can you believe this, Jeff?
Go on.
Rwanda in the year 2025 Q3, quarter 3, they grew by double digit, over 10%.
What?
And the overall growth of Rwanda will be 7 to probably 9%, as the figures are being corroborated by the various agencies. So I believe that whatever you do in the small bits, you still get betrayed by the figures. Let me also give some figures in terms of Kenya, comparative to Kenya of the past. And let me compare the three regimes that has been there. When President Mwai Kibaki took over in 2003, our GDP in dollar terms was around 19 billion US dollars. But in his first 3 years, let me compare 3 years because we are in our third, it is now in the third year. The economy went up to 26 billion US dollars, which was a 36% increment in 3 years. When President Uhuru took over in the year 2013, the economy grew from 61 billion US dollars to around 64. That was around 21% growth in 3 years. When we took over, the GDP of Kenya was around 114 billion US dollars. The projection up to end of 2025, it will be 131 billion US dollars. That is 14.9%. Now, to bring it home in terms of, we use NEC exams. You can times by 2 for us to have the mental comparison in terms of NEC. It means President Kibaki's 3 years, if you times by 2, is 72%. You'll tell me what NEC says about 72%, what grade it is. 21% of President Uhuru is around 42%. If you times by 2, if you times 14.9% by 2, It is apparently 29%. You tell me what grade that is in terms of...
It's an F.
Is that what?
It's an F.
Is that what, Jeff? Please.
I said it's an F.
I need to be aware. So what I'm trying to say, we all want Kenya to progress, and that is why we keep on giving alternative voices. But for Kenya to progress, we have to start on the basis of reality and truth. So that when we tell Kenyans we are going this direction, and the economy is growing, I don't need to buy a tarubeta. Even whispers will speak loud. That is why I'm disappointed.
Okay, Babu, same thing with you and ODM. You know, you seem to be very close to... You're Baba's boy. Baba, there's never an occasion where you got up and didn't praise Baba to no end. And yet, you're still outside the tent, man. You know, what's up?
Jeff, I must tell you that deep down my heart, I loved Baba and I still love Baba. Actually, Baba, there's no any other leader in this country that I will love the way I loved Baba. We suffered together. We campaigned together. I went to 280 constituencies out of 290 constituencies because of Baba. I was the first person to have been abducted in this government, and they disappeared with me for 3 good days because of the love that I had for Baba. We were beaten at Soi, the chopper that was stoned. We were almost dying in that chopper because of my love for Baba. I was doing mobilization for Baba in Nairobi. So I was Baba's boy, I was Baba's right-hand man, I was Baba's errand boy. And that is the love that I had for Baba. And Jeff, our Baba, passed on, quite unfortunate. It was a sudden death that we are still mourning up to date. And Jeff, because of that, the general is dead. Long live the general, but the dream is still alive. The fact that the general is dead, Jeff, then we need to ask ourselves a simple question in ODM, that what kind of a general do we need to take after Baba? Do we need the weakest general, or do we need the strongest general, or do we need a parachuted general? Our Moses is gone. And when Moses was leaving, he went left at Mount Nebo, then handed over to Joshua. The next question we must ask ourselves, Jeff, is that, do we need a Joshua who is Moses' age mate, or who is older than Moses, or a Joshua who is younger than Moses? The answer is simple, Jeff. We need a Joshua who is younger than Moses, a Joshua with the vim, with the vigor, with the courage, with the temerity to take the people that Baba left to Canaan, because we've already seen Canaan. And I will come back and talk about Canaan versus Singapore, because Baba left us telling us to go to Canaan. Now we are being diverted to go to Singapore. The distance between Singapore and Canaan is 7,800 kilometers. People keep on saying that they dreamt, that Baba sent them a dream. And Baba, we've not even been told by our great mom, Mama Ida Odinga, that Baba has sent him a dream, sent her a dream, sorry. But people are saying the way they've dreamt 7, 8 times about Baba, what Baba said. But why can't they say that Baba told us to go to Canaan and not to Singapore? I want to tell you one thing, Jeff, that in the book of Joel, 2 verses 28, the Bible says clearly that old men will dream dreams, but young men will see the vision. That means that for you to dream dreams, you must be asleep. You must be at comfort zone. You must be at rest. Therefore, our old men are now at comfort zone and at rest. They are at rest because of the wars that they fought and brought it this far. They are at rest because of the sweat, the toil, and the moil. Because they fought for this nation. And it is time for them to hand over the baton to the young generation who are seeing the next future, who are seeing the generation, who are seeing for the next generation, who are seeing the future. That those young people will change this nation, will ensure that the high cost of living goes down, We'll ensure that overtaxation is no longer there in this nation. We'll ensure that employment is given to our young men and women. We'll ensure that quality education and affordable is given to our children, equal to healthcare. And that, when the time for the young men to hand over riches once they become old, they will also hand over to other young men and women who will ensure that the dream is kept alive.
Okay.
And Jeff,
go on.
Current ODM that we have
does
not talk about what Baba stood for. Baba never went to look for coalitions. Baba never went to look for other parties. Other parties came to look for Baba. This that we are going to look for is a different ODM. So therefore, the leadership of ODM must ensure that they stand with what Baba believed in.
And you feel they're a little twisted, a little...
what I will tell you...
Of course, Kidogo.
They are, of course, that leadership, they don't like the young people. And I want to tell you, again, in the book of 1 Timothy 4, verses 12, says clearly that do not allow yourself to be despised because you are a youth.
Yeah.
But show, by good example, by love, show the good work that you can do to the
Didi, real quick, Babu just mentioned Singapore a moment ago. And you are a numbers man. You know your numbers. And you just mentioned it briefly a short while ago that, you have to stick to your vision. Is Singapore a reality or is it a diversion?
Let me answer it this way. In economics, just to bring it in terms of real life, if, for example, you are a banana farmer, you compare how well you want to do banana farming with another banana farmer. You can't compare your yield using, let's say, oranges or pears. What am I trying to say? Every time you want to champion a cause like any other country economically, there are things that you look for. And that's why I believe the whole thing is like the one we sold about this versus the other. And because the time is nearing, creativity now have to jump in with another of such. And this is the reason I gave the example of bananas and the rest. Economic, you want to compare an economy and you want to do like that economy, you look at the homogeneity of those economies. You look at, are these things even the same in many dynamics? The GDP per capita of that country is around, and I don't want to even get into that political sloganeering, so you allow me to use that reference. It's around 90,000 US dollars.
GDP?
No, GDP per capita, per person. Ours is around 3,000, but that's not even the point. The point is that how the economies are fashioned. The economy of Singapore is fashioned very differently from how the economy of Kenya is fashioned. Number one, in terms of the involvement of the state in terms of the economy. If, for example, you check at SGX, the Singaporean stock market, you take the top 10 companies, you realize that Temasek, one of the entity of government that owns stakes in other companies, they are very dominant in terms of ownership. Because Singapore, in its start, as much as it was promoting private side of the economy, the government was also very heavy in terms of state capitalism. So the economy actually that is very close to what Kenya should be, if we actually mean to emulate a country, it is actually South Korea. Because if you look at the size of that country you mentioned vis-a-vis Kenya, totally off, even a county in Kenya is bigger in terms of geographical size, population-wise, and the same. If you compare the same with a country, for example, South Korea, more or less, our ideals economically bled more with South Korea. Our population is in the 50 millions. South Korea is in the 50 millions. Our country, our aspiration is to promote private sector-driven capitalism. And that is why we keep on divesting from government stakes. If you look at South Korea, that is what it advanced, and especially from the rule of General Park, where the economy was so involved in growing private enterprise that they had to create a cadre of companies called chaebols. You see, for example, my phone, here Samsung, LG, Hyundai, those are brands from South Korea.
Yeah.
But they were created by a deliberate government policy. Why? Because they wanted these companies, which would become behemoths, to be the pinnacle of the supply chain of supporting SMEs in South Korea, etc., etc., etc. That's point number one on how the economies are organized. There is something very important also that Kenya has to give critical thinking on. It's something called FDI. If you look at the Asian tigers in generality, because our aspiration is to grow Kenya, you realize that majority of the economies, including China, they don't just grow using internal resources. Most of these companies actually grow using other people's money. If you just try to think about any company, for example, in Singapore, take, for example, DBS Bank, Keppel. If you go to South Korea, you take others. You go to China, take any, BYD. You realize there is, in all those, what I'm trying to make, because I'm trying to just jump into the point because of time. If you check in all those companies, and many others I've not mentioned, you see something very peculiar. For BYD to be BYD that we know, they actually grew on American money. At some point, Berkshire Hathaway was an investor. If you check Alibaba, there was foreign money. But now when you come to Kenya, and especially policy making, and I've been there, I have seen it. I'm speaking from experience, given my other
chairmanship budget. Yes.
Many times we confuse FDI and remittances. We want to sell a story to Kenyans about money that is coming to Kenya, and especially from Kenyans who are working abroad. Yep. Remittances are consumerism driven. FDI is investment driven. The other point, I'm just trying to give a highlight. You look at Kenya, and you look at the countries we want to emulate, you want to look at the dynamism of those economies. And you realize ours is very haphazard. If you look, for example, at Japan that started to grow around Asia, they started with having labor-intensive industries. And there was a reason. Because you mop up unemployment, you solve a social problem, but you also give people a chance to be a resource. And then you upgrade. You go to a skill-intensive kind of industrial economy. Then you go to capital intensive. And then you go to technology driven. Why am I giving all these issues around here? The economy must know where it is so that the policies, even if you may leapfrog and go to the other technology, etc., you have to start at the base and first stick there until you then graduate and go to the next. And I'm not saying you keep off growing on the rest in terms of skill and technology and capital intensive. I'm saying that we must be deliberate on creating labor-intensive industries, because this is an economic issue in terms of solution, but it's also a social one. The other point, as I go to the finish, I'll just give a few. For us to become like those countries, none of them grew on the basis of patronage. The biggest problem we have in our country now is patronage. Patronage is where we mix power and economy. Is it a coincidence in Kenya that when one is bequeathed with a big position, they automatically become the best entrepreneurs in Kenya, that they become also captains of the industries in terms of ownership? The other point, which we have to be very clear on, is governance and corruption. Yeah. Singapore, in the year 1980s, they had a program around housing. And the Minister for Housing took some money from somebody. And he was being searched by the equivalent of EACC. And because Lee Kuan Yew was his friend, he decided to call him. Hey, my friend, I'm in this kind of problem.
Can I come see you?
Can I come see you, man?
Yes.
Lee Kuan Yew told him, malizana na EACC, mimi siendi pahali utaniona. Utaniona tu. The guy committed suicide. What am I trying to say? Jeff, and I'm talking this because I know for sure it is important. We have to root the diversion that happens around taking public resources and benefiting from policies when especially we are in governance. Because corruption is not just about kitu kidogo. The biggest level of corruption is the one that distorts economic incentives. Yeah. This is what I mean. In not just Kenya, most of the countries in the global south, you realize as a young man, if I just gain power, I get money in between. If you go to those countries, there is a clear demarcation. So what happens? Even the person who should be an entrepreneur, the biggest resource in entrepreneurship becomes power. Yeah. And that is not how an economy can grow to the level we want to go into. The very last one is human capital development. From the US, from the UK in terms of growth, actually from way back, you know, there is a time Netherlands was a superpower in the world. From Netherlands to the UK, to the US, coming to the Asian tigers, including China, you realize one critical element. In all economic models of those ones, practical examples, and even theoretically, human capital development is the most important resource that you have to work on when you're talking about growing an economy, not in a normal pace, astronomically. Okay. And we cannot do that when at the same time we are denying the basic level of that, which is basic education, sufficient resources.
Babu.
Yep, if I may,
go on,
the issue of Singapore.
Yes.
First of all, if I just talk at face value and compare Singapore and Kenya, Jeff, the size of Singapore is 736 square kilometer.
Is that central province? Is that smaller than?
The size of Nairobi is 696 square kilometers.
Wow.
Therefore, Singapore and Nairobi are almost congruent in size. The size of Kenya is 580,000 square kilometers. It means that Kenya is 800 times bigger than Singapore. Then the population of Kenya is 58 million in number, while the population of Singapore is 6.1 million in number. The GDP right now of Singapore is close to around 4.6% today. And the GDP of Kenya is approximately around between that 4 and 5%. Therefore, it means that how else will the 58 million Kenyans fit in Singapore, which is a smaller country in terms of size? Jeff, there is no need of the state, of the government, of the president talking about Singapore if we have a blueprint in Kenya. For 40 years when KANU was ruling this nation, by 2002, we had an economic growth rate. Actually, I'm talking about the economic growth rate, not the GDP. Of Singapore is 4.6 and of Kenya is around 5%. The economic growth rate of Kenya as at 2002 was at 2%. Then when Kibaki took over, the economic growth rate shot to 7%.
7.1, I remember. Yes.
7%.
Yes.
Then in 2008, Kibaki came up with a blueprint and called it the Vision 2030. We don't need to go to Singapore. I want us to focus here. The Vision 2030, having come up, the projection was that by the year 2013, it ought to have had a two-digit number, which was approximately 10%. And by the year 2030, it ought to have maintained that 10% and even more. With the blueprint that we have, we had 3 pillars. The economic pillar, that was comprising of tourism, that we were to market our nation, and we were to come up with proper infrastructure and proper hotel industry to attract tourism in our nation. Yep. We were to talk about manufacturing, that we invest more in manufacturing, in construction industry, in the service industry, which we have the banking and the insurance industry. We were also supposed to talk about the micro, that is retail and wholesale, micro and small, medium enterprises. That is the Juakali sector, and were to be financed through cooperatives and SACCOs. Very simple, Jeff. Then we had the economic sector, then we had the social sector. The social pillar was supposed to take care of education, providing quality and affordable education, if possible free, because there was free primary education. Then in addition to that, healthcare, primary healthcare, affordable and of great quality. We're talking about proper environment, sanitation, clean and sufficient supply of water. Simple things, Jeff. Then the last one is the political pillar, where we were talking about the justice system, reforms in the justice system. We were to talk about the reforms in the electoral process to give us proper leadership, not what we have now. We were to talk about the management of the political parties so that we don't have the problems we are experiencing with my brother Nyoro today.
Yeah.
Then, Jeff, before all that, we were advised that there were basic things that ought to have been done first before we implemented the three pillars, the economic, the political, and the social pillars. And they were simple. Number one, the security of a state. That in the security, we were supposed to have proper police reforms. My brother and I will tell you today that we don't have a police service. We have a police force, up to date. The defense was supposed to be so stable to handle terrorism, so that there's stable security. Yeah. Not a nation that abducts her children, where tourists will be scared of coming to invest here. Because the other day at Thika Law Courts, you charge over 50 Gen Zs with terrorism charges. Yeah. You call them terrorists. How can a tourist, how can an investor come to invest in this nation that is full of, in quotes, terrorists? Then we talk about the macroeconomic stability, where the prices of goods and services were supposed to be stable before we do any other thing. Inflation, stable. We talk about exchange rates, stable. Then the next one was so simple that they only required us to do proper infrastructure in the country. For us to achieve the three economic pillars: infrastructure, energy. Energy, right now electricity we produce close to around 3,800 megawatts. Yeah. Cannot run industrialization to grow a nation. Roads, airports, and ports. We were to talk about land reforms, Jeff. What can you do? Land is a factor of production in economics. The land reforms, the historical injustices were supposed to be cured. Look at a situation where a case involving dinner management versus the county government of Mombasa, where a parcel of land was sold to a person X, was given to the former President Moi. Then former President Moi sold it to a person X. A person X sold it to dinner management, a company. But that land was a public land. So the county government of Mombasa went to court. And it was resolved in an easy way, where the basic principles of the torrent system came up. The mirror principle, the curtain principle, the insurable principle. They came out clearly. We needed to solve such issues. We needed to talk about what my brother has talked about, the human capital development, matter skills. We train our people in matter skills so that we can have better masons. We can have better plumbers. We can have better engineers. Training of people properly to achieve this. But Jeff, we run away from all that. Then we come and tell you that, it was bottom up. We ran away from the blueprint, we said bottom up. That bottom up promised a mama mboga to graduate from a kiosk into owning a supermarket. Yeah. From a boda rider riding a boda to owning a matatu. Not done yet, still in abeyance, suspended. Right now, we are talking about going to Singapore. We cannot go to Singapore, Jeff, if we can't provide the basics to a common human being in Kenya. Basic needs. We cannot go to Singapore when a common man is hungry. Jeff, a man, a woman toils, moils, wakes up very early in the morning. A dad going to Juakali. Our brothers riding a bicycle. Our mothers selling mama mboga. Some selling changa like my mother. Jeff, if you see women in a construction site carrying stones and shovel, working tirelessly, so that they can just get their next meal, so that they can just get their rent for the next month, so that they can get school fee for their children, so that they can get affordable education for their children. Jeff, what has happened with us? Where is the morality in us as leaders that we want to see Kenyans suffer and we still want to go to Singapore? Will you be going to Singapore with hungry people? Feed Kenyans first. Let them have energy. Then they will have a way to go to Singapore. They even know where Singapore is. You will not take them. They will go by themselves.
They will know.
Yes.
But, Rwanda will get to Singapore before us. Let's face it. You mentioned it. Double-digit growth.
Yes.
They'll get there before us. And by the way, Uganda is as small as Singapore. And Kagame has always been saying, Lee Kuan Yew, he drove that country the way Kagame is doing it.
And the beauty is that all those cases, it was deliberate.
Yeah.
Let's even not jump there. If you go, for example, to a country like China, how it grew, from around 1978, coming all the way, Deng Xiaoping's time, deliberate. If you go to, in terms of General Park in South Korea, deliberate policy. Simple line, one. South Korea was export-led economy. Just that. So everything else that the economy was doing, every production, was industrialization, which is based on exporting.
So maybe, gentlemen, let's forget about Singapore. Let's go to South Korea.
Jeff, I said the other day.
Pick a country.
Because I've been in those political issues.
Yes. Hold on. Hold that thought, Mheshimiwa. Because I want to come and talk about that. And also, where did you get this money to educate all these children in your constituency? Where's the money coming from?
I came with some chapels, I'll give you.
And gentlemen, also, both of you. In fact, I have a message here from David Ole Sankok.
A great man.
A good man, a fantastic man. Sankok says, Jeff, you are speaking. Here we go. Today you are hosting the president and his running mate. Sankok amesema hivyo. Gentlemen, think about it, man. Think about it.
The future is
It's bright.
Yes, very bright.
I have to wear shades.
Very bright.
It's very bright.
Yeah.
Folks, I told you, the young Turks speaking without fear of contradiction. Maybe this is what we need going forward as a nation. What do you think? We're going to take a break, come back, plenty more ahead. We have Nyoro in the House, Member of Parliament for Kiharo, and Babu Owino, Member of Parliament for Embakasi East. Pretty soon, it could be Mr. President and his deputy. Question is,
the Bible says, my king is the king of the Jews. He's the king of Israel. He's the king of righteousness. He's the king of the ages. He's the king of heaven. He's the king of glory. He's the king of kings. And he's the Lord of lords. That's my king. I wonder, do you know him? My king is a sovereign king. No means of measure can define his limitless love. He's enduringly strong. He's entirely sincere. He's eternally steadfast. He's immortally graceful. He's imperially powerful. He's impartially merciful. Do you know him? He's the greatest phenomenon that has ever crossed the horizon of this world. He's God's Son. He's a sinner's Savior. He's the centerpiece of civilization. He's unparalleled. He's unprecedented. He is the loftiest idea in literature. He's the highest personality in philosophy. He's the fundamental doctrine of true theology. He's the only one qualified to be an all-sufficient Savior. I wonder if you know him today. He supplies strength for the weak. He's available for the tempted and the tried. He sympathizes and he saves. He strengthens and sustains. He guards and he guides. He heals the sick. He cleanses the lepers. He forgives sinners. He discharges debtors. He delivers the captive. He defends the feeble. He blesses the young. He serves the unfortunate. He regards the aged. He rewards the diligent. And he beautifies the meek. I wonder if you know him. He's the key to knowledge. He's the wellspring of wisdom. He's the doorway of deliverance. He's the pathway of peace. He's the roadway of righteousness. He's the highway of holiness. He's the gateway of glory. Do you know him? Well, His life is matchless. His goodness is limitless. His mercy is everlasting. His love never changes. His word is enough. His grace is sufficient. His reign is righteous. And his yoke is easy. And his burden is light. I wish I could describe him to you. He's indescribable. He's incomprehensible. He's invincible. He's irresistible. Well, you can't get him out of your mind. You can't get him off of your hand. You can't outlive him, and you can't live without him. Well, the Pharisees couldn't stand him, but they found out they couldn't stop him. Pilate couldn't find any fault in him. Herod couldn't kill him. Death couldn't handle him, and the grave couldn't hold him. Yeah! That's my king. That's my king.
Welcome back to Jeff Koinange Live here at Citizen Television. My goodness, it's not every day that we find two young, bright members of parliament, because we're very critical of our politicians, but these guys, I tell you, you need to listen up. Listen up. Nyoro from Kiharo all the way, and Babu Owino from Embakasi East. These guys are talking it like they see it, without favor of contradiction. Gentlemen, Didi, you first. People are criticizing you, best performing MPs, both of you, amongst the best. And yet people are saying, where is this man getting the money for his NGCDF? I know he was chairman of budget. He knows where the money is. Maybe he's been able to divert some funds. Break it down for us without being too technical.
I'll not be I think the first part was very jargon-oriented because economics doesn't have times. If you have to say GDP, it has to be GDP.
Sure.
I'll be brief, but let me give you why we do it. Because it's deliberate. For Kenya to grow, and as I keep talking about it in this show, education has to be at the center of it.
Yeah.
Because to increase productivity per person, this is it, Jeff. Kenya has 50 million people. South Korea has 50 million people. South Korea has wealth per person, GDP per capita of around 36,000. Kenya,
3,000.
3,000.
They are 12 times.
Yes, that tells you one thing. For any economy to grow, deal with a person as the unit of the economy. Because what we end up calling the economy up here is the amalgamation of me as an economic agent, then the household as the economic agent, the farm, you sum that, it becomes the economy. So productivity per person is very important. Now, what education does is to add value to human capital. I hope you get that. You see the way you pick mangoes, you take to an industry, to add value, it becomes juice.
Yeah.
To add value to a human being, as an agent of the economy, you add value through education.
Yeah.
Healthcare deals with servicing.
Yeah.
So the reason why in Kiharu, everything rotates around education, it is because it is education that builds roads. It is investing in education that builds all the other things. And I'm not saying we don't do those things, but I'm just saying why most of the things around CDF in Kiharu rotate around there. Now, Kiharu has 112 public primary schools. It is the largest, it's the top 2 largest rural constituency from our region. So it's a very large constituency. Because our 2 neighbors combined, Madhya and Kagema, you know those places? Kiharu is still larger. But I'm saying that in good faith, just for comparison purpose. So out of all, and I'm coming now to answer your question, but I have to paint a picture so that we see what is doable in Kenya. Of all the 112 public primary schools, all of them are well done. We built classrooms where we needed to build, renovated the old structures, and all pupils in Kiharu, they step on tiles. I know for you, Jeff, tiles is not a big deal.
Yeah, I was saying, okay, so what's the big deal?
Yeah, I know. But I'm sure most of the people are relating.
Yes.
The kind of rural schools that we have. Yes. We have 65-day secondary schools. We have done a lot in them, built laboratories, etc., etc., etc.
Where's the money coming from?
Now, I'm coming there. We now run Kiharu Masomo Bora, which we launched yesterday, where learners, not few, we have 12,000 day scholars in Kiharu across the 65-day secondary schools. The only school fees they pay is 500 shillings. And they eat in school from Monday to Saturday.
Every one of them?
And last Friday of the month, they eat chapati.
No.
And then we buy revision books for them. Like now we have done 10 million. In the previous years, we have done 20 cumulative. We have put in a kitty of 50 million for laboratories and other critical infrastructure to deepen knowledge. Because there is expansion of infrastructure, but there is also deepening of knowledge. Deepening of knowledge, you'll need laboratories, libraries, and such. How do we do it and where do we get the money? Jeff, there is no enough money anywhere, but there is also no small money. It depends with what you do with it. When I was elected in my first term, we decided that if we continue doing the norm, we'll do nothing in terms of what is visible, given the expansiveness of Kiharu. So, what did we do? We took all the data of Kiharu infrastructure that is needed, and we decided we are going to be data-driven. Number 2, we standardized. What do I mean? And I'm just talking fast to break down. If you go to any classroom in Kiharu, it is almost identical. The door, the window, whatever we do is more or less
cut and paste, cut and paste.
Yes, standardization is very important. Then, the breaker is the method we use called labor-based. It's very intensive in terms of time, very, very intensive. But we do labor-based. What is this and what is the difference? You take to school A, 1 million shillings in Kiharu. You take to school AX in another constituency, 1 million. Let's use 1 million. So this 1 million you take in another place, you give a contractor, 2 things happen. After you launch as the MP, and you leave the gate after shairis have been said for you by the students, makofi imepigwa na wazazi. By the time you leave the gate, you leave with 160,000 shillings. Do you know what that means?
Tell me.
In 1,160,000, you live in Kenya, you know what I mean?
Yes.
What?
It's ka-chink, ka-chink.
VAT. Because in every BQ of government, there is a remnant of VAT on the total sum. Then, number 2, you give a contractor. By the time you leave the gate, Remember, a contractor is not an NGO. So more give or take in Kenya, contractors get that % of the total. So that's 300,000.
1/3, yeah.
By the time you are leaving the gate, you have walked away with 460,000.
Yeah, almost 500,000.
Yes. So actually took to the school 540,000. So in Kiharu, what did we do? We trained our own people in my first term, 150 people on how to do tiling because we knew it would be a critical element of our work where we had deficiencies in skill. We also did professional painting of 150, normal people who do the works, and we taught them professional painting. Those are the two gaps we had realized. There was deficiency in terms of skill. So we are able to do double work for the same money. Now,
okay, tell me, hold that thought. Huh? Yes. What's the population of Kiharu?
Kiharu voters is around over 120,000.
120K.
Yes.
Babu, population of Embakasi East.
154,000 registered voters.
It's not so far away, huh?
Yeah.
It's not that far away from Kiharu, huh?
Yeah.
Can I finish with the...
Yeah, real quick.
The last one?
Yes.
So that my brother also, because he's done also very well, he can also jump in. Now, that is the hard part of education, because we categorize education in 2 ways in Kiharu. There is the hard part, and there is the soft part. The hard part is infrastructure. We built even new schools, like 7 new secondary schools, but I don't want to keep on tabulating. I want to go to the main issue. So there is the hard part of education, which you have to do. There is no two way about it, Jeff, because it is needed, and you can't talk about now the soft part, which I will talk about, before you have the right infrastructure.
Right.
So our focus now is turning to the soft side, because we have done so much in the hard part. The soft part is what? After you build this infrastructure, can learners be maintained in school? That's the soft part. Having the learners now in school. That is why we started Kiharu Masomo Bora, 12,000 learners, 65-day secondary schools, covering everyone who goes to school there, including non-Kiharu residents. You get that?
Yeah.
And the primary basis of that program is Kiharu NGCDF. And I would have told you other things, like beyond that program, building infrastructure, there is motivation of even taking principles to Dubai, and so many other spices that we
and chapatis every last Friday.
That people can compete.
I'll be coming on Fridays.
In terms of
Babu,
compete.
Yes.
You are very...
In terms of education.
Yeah, you are very popular. You've really concentrated a lot on bursaries, right?
Yes.
A lot of kids, destitute, desperate kids. Bursaries. Where's the money coming from, man?
Jeff, number one, so long as you're doing development that is meant for the public, it doesn't matter where money comes from, so long as that money goes to the public, because it belongs to the public. We are given money, NGCDF, a percentage given for bursaries and other departments, and I would support my brother Nyoro by stating clearly that even you don't have even to explain where money is coming from, Ndindi, so long as that money is going to the people. Because who is benefiting is not you. It's the students who are benefiting from your program. And that is what we need. Those people who have a problem with Ndindi, they are people who fear reasoning. These are people who are ordinary leaders. We need extraordinary leaders, not just ordinary leaders. Jeff, when it comes to bursaries, the reason why I focus on education so much is because I'm a product of education. Were it not for education, Jeff, I would have never come to Nairobi. I came to Nairobi in the year 2007. For education. Were it not for education, I would have never been a student leader. Were it not for education, I would have never been a member of parliament. Jeff, the same opportunity that I was given while I was in primary school, while I was in secondary school, while I was at the university, is the same opportunity that I wake up every single day in the morning to give to a child, to put a smile on the face of that child. Because I know, Jeff, that if a parent tells me that their children have no school fees, at some point in life I lacked fees. I know what it is to lack fees. If a parent or a person tells me that they are sleeping without food, they are going hungry, I know what hunger is. I've slept without food at some point in my life. And therefore, because of that, Jeff, I know what my mom went through. We held our first fundraiser, Jeff, to take me to Kisumu Boys High School. The guest of honor, a respectable man that up to date, I educate his child. And it is because of the love that I have for him. What he had, he gave us all. He had 200 shillings. We collected a total of 900 Kenya shillings.
900?
900 Kenya shillings. But people were coming so happy to contribute for me. The house was full. Removing 10 shillings, 20 shillings. Because of that 10 shillings, Jeff, I'm here today as a member of parliament. And that is why when it comes to education of a child in this nation, I will do everything and stop at nothing to ensure that I give my people bursaries. And I'm going to do it from the date 20th day of January 2026. I'm going to communicate on my program on how I'll issue bursaries to my people. Because, Jeff, I would rather not build roads, but educate a child. That child will come and build roads. Because I can build a road after 10, 15 years, the road is done. But if I educate a child, that child will come and build these roads. Jeff, a parent, even those who didn't go to school like my own mom, wakes up very early in the morning just to sell mboga. Very early in the morning, doing very odd jobs. You get out of this place, tomorrow morning when you come here, Jeff, you will find our mothers outside, here, going to wash clothes, seated in rain.
At Kasuku Center, I see them all the time.
Center, Jeff.
Yes.
Just looking for 200 shillings so that they can educate their children. But I want to advise them never to give up. It doesn't matter how much time it will take, but that child that you are struggling for as a parent, one day will remove you from that son.
So why, Didi, why are MPs from Wajir or Northeastern, why are they criticizing you then? What's the deal?
Jeff,
Ebuniambia?
Jeff, if I can defend my brother,
Yes.
they lack a vision. That is as simple as that. They are on a mission, but they lack a vision. A mission to destroy the lives of those who elected them. But we have a vision to transform this nation into a better place. Jeff, me and you, we individuals, life is temporal. Tomorrow we will not be here. The greatest legacy that I want to leave behind is a legacy that I will be told that you took my child to school. That a person one day in life will tell me, Babu, because of you, I'm a doctor. Because of you, I'm a teacher. Because of you, I'm a business person. That is the legacy that I want to leave. Jeff, let me tell you one thing as a leader. That a mango does not eat a mango fruit. A guava does not eat itself. The mango fruit is eaten by the eater. But the MPs who are criticizing development, they are mangoes who are eating themselves. For us, we want to offer. We want to offer to be eaten. We want to offer to be used, even misused by our constituents, as long as we deliver them to the city of victory.
I think on that question, Jeff, I also want to extend respect to the leaders because
they're not respecting you. Clearly, they're not respecting you.
I have not seen any, unless maybe I have not seen any directly doing so, because and I'm saying so because every area has its own dynamics, and nasijaribu kutetea mtu. And they have their own whatever they want to achieve. And I think what you are doing is just to show that there are some things that are doable. And I demonstrated, even as I come in for my colleagues, I demonstrated yesterday, Jeff, that there are some things collectively we can do as leaders, myself and the other members of parliament, that can actually go a long haul when it comes to alleviating the issues that are there in our education sector. And I'll go direct, and especially to the senior secondary schools and the solution we can provide, not just talking, but actually together provide. The current enrollment in our senior secondary schools is maybe around 3.2 million learners. And what we need to do, Jeff, is to provide, together all of us, just around 30 billion shillings to make education in our basic institution of basic education, and just citing senior secondary as an example, to make it totally free and totally free.
Okay, real quick, before we go to break, Fred Obach-Machoka, the blackest man in Black Africa. He wants to know real quick, how did Didi raise funds for development of those classrooms and feeding of the children? How do you raise the funds? Real quick, I mean, don't be too technical.
Jeff, I think I've explained the issue about how we optimize our resources. I was describing how we do labor-based and etc., etc., etc. But allow me to also make the point that I was trying to finish. Even as we are talking, Jeff, there are some things that must not wait for any election cycle to be made an election material.
Yes, yes.
And I want me and all my colleagues, there is something we have to put behind us. That is providing totally free basic education to Kenyans. And I was trying to
the way Kibaki wanted it.
Yes. And I'm trying to give an example of senior secondary school in 1 minute. We need around 30 billion shillings to make all our day schools free and totally free, including lunch program, because that is the kind of fees.
All you need is 30 billion.
We need 30 billion as a country. And my proposal is this way, Jeff, because I believe it's doable now, because great ideas must not be postponed.
No.
CDF, currently we have a budget of 58 billion nationally. So Kiharu, for example, now is receiving 202 million shillings. So every constituency is receiving an average of 200 million shillings. We can collectively, as colleagues, actually say that, or come up with a conclusion, we need to give up 10 billion shillings to go into a kitty. We may call day school, we may call it day school kitty. Our governors also give bursaries, including to day scholars. They can contribute another 10 billion shillings to that kitty.
Makes it 20.
The national government may stop the renovations we keep on doing every year. They also donate only 10 billion.
That's 30.
30.
That's 30.
So that the other problems we may end up dealing with as a member of parliament is now bursaries to borders and those in colleges and the rest.
Okay.
Because if we don't provide basic education totally free, we are alienating so many people out of a system that should work for everyone.
Gentlemen, why aren't you two running for president and deputy? Why aren't you taking it the next step? In fact, I want to take a break, come back and ask you, you want to run for governor of Nairobi?
I'll explain that.
Okay. What happens to Dimples?
Jeff, you know, a man without patience to even sit in class to do his own exams can never have patience to solve challenges that are affecting Nairobians.
Didi, how about you? Governor Muranga?
Talk about that.
Oh my. Oh my. You need to stay tuned for that. And what is this with you people flashing guns? I mean, come on. Kila mtu ako pinned siku hizi ni aje?
This time I was on the receiving. It was an occupational hazard.
Okay, we'll talk about that when we come back. Quick break, come back. Keep tweeting at Koinange Jeff, at O'Burrows, at Citizen TV Kenya. The hashtag is JK Live. Folks, I'm telling you, you may be looking at the future right here, and you didn't even know it. You can thank me for it later. Jeff Koinange Live takes a break. We'll be back in a moment.
At St. Peter and Ann Medical Center, Ruaka, we believe healthcare is more than treatment. It's trust and unmatched care. Available 24/7 for emergency response and critical care, we are committed to investing in top-tier dental and imaging services. Utilizing advanced ultrasound and X-ray diagnostics guarantees precision at every stage of the process. Our inpatient wards offer comfort, safety, and compassion. Our modern laboratory delivers results you can trust. St. Peter and
The Bible says, my king is the king of the Jews. He's the king of Israel. He's the king of righteousness. He's the king of the ages. He's the king of heaven. He's the king of glory. He's the king of kings. And he's the Lord of lords. That's my king. I wonder, do you know him? My king is a sovereign king. No means of measure can define his limitless love. He's enduringly strong. He's entirely sincere. He's eternal. eternally steadfast. He's immortally graceful. He's imperially powerful. He's impartially merciful. Do you know him? He's the greatest phenomenon that has ever crossed the horizon of this world. He's God's Son. He's a sinner's Savior. He's the centerpiece of civilization. He's unparalleled. He's unprecedented. He is the loftiest idea in literature. He's the highest personality in philosophy. He's the fundamental doctrine of true theology. He's the only one qualified to be an all-sufficient Savior. I wonder if you know him today. He supplies strength for the weak. He's available for the tempted and the tried. He sympathizes and he saves. He strengthens and sustains. He guards and he guides. He heals the sick. He cleanses the lepers. He forgives sinners. He discharges debtors. He delivers the captive. He defends the feeble. He blesses the young. He serves the unfortunate. He regards the aged. He rewards the diligent. And he beautifies the meek. I wonder if you know him. He's the key to knowledge. He's the wellspring of wisdom. He's the doorway of deliverance. He's the pathway of peace. He's the roadway of righteousness. He's the highway of holiness.
They always call it without fear or favor. Kiara Member of Parliament Nyoro, and Embakasi East Member of Parliament Babu Owino. In the House, we may be looking at the future of Kenya right here. What are your thoughts? So, the other day, and you've been very outspoken about this, Didi, Safaricom shares. And you know, I'm so close to Safaricom because I was very close to former CEO, my good friend Bob Collymore, who rested, God his soul in peace. And now we're hearing stories that we're selling, what, 15% of our own government stake? Explain it to me like I was a 2-year-old.
Jeff, I've been speaking about this issue, and the context is that, number one, I'm a proponent of privatization.
Yeah.
Because it brings around efficiencies when companies are run in market-driven scenarios. And therefore, privatization is always good. The big problem that I have, and I am glad I have seen even the professional bodies like ISPAC have put a voice in support of the same, is that we cannot afford as Kenya to be too desperate to give Safaricom for a song. I raised this issue when it came up, and I saw the National Treasury responding to saying that they are selling it above market price. And what I saw there was dereliction of duty. Because any person who knows about how capital markets work, capital markets provide liquidity, but not necessarily valuation. And I'll give you examples. And the reason I'm saying that is because this transaction, Jeff, our country, Kenya, has the capacity to lose over 100 billion shillings.
What?
In this deal.
What?
Just by people not doing their job and for competence not being front of it. All the companies in the world, as we have seen even in the US currently, there is a sale of this owner of CNN is on sale.
Yeah.
There are two companies bidding,
Correct.
that is Paramount and yes, tuna watch movie inaitwa nini? Netflix. They are also bidding to buy. It shows you that when you are selling a block stake in a company, the market ceases to be the basis of valuation. It is only used by the buyer, not the seller, because it is to the advantage of the buyer. And I'll give you a few examples locally here. Because I'm talking it in good faith and I wish you can do the right thing. In the year 2014, I had some few shares of a company called Rea Vipingo. It was then trading at 27.5 shillings. Some guys gave up a bid. They wanted to buy us out as small shareholders. And they were buying us at 40 shillings per share.
From 27?
From 27.5. Jeff, nilikuwa nauliza hiyo pesa itafika lini? Because I thought I'm getting an upside of 45%.
Yes.
This is too good a deal. Your friend, the late Chris Kerobe, Drew Centum, petitioned CMA. They said, no, this is a listed company, you're also going to bid. And they bid for 50 shillings. The long and short of it is that the same guy who had offered us 40 shillings had to sit down even with Kerobe negotiating,
yes,
canvassing for him to get out of the deal. The negotiation, the long and short of it is that we ended up selling our shares, area 27.50, for 85 shillings.
Wow, 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 wow.
In a span of, I think it was 2 or 3 months. So my take has been this, and I can use many examples, many examples. Our current market has been very bearish, meaning the share prices have been very low. That's why you see banking sector, the shares are very low, and all the others. So my proposal is this, practical. If there is no ulterior motive or anyone cutting a deal and getting personal money out of this deal, why can't we let all other companies bid for Safaricom's stake of 15%? And I can guarantee you, we are going to get much more than this. The second thing is this. We are selling to a company which is already part of the composition of the board of Safaricom. Definitely there is information asymmetry there.
And a conflict of interest.
Yeah, definitely, that's what I'm trying to say. So the best way to cure, even in terms of the markets, where there is asymmetry of information, is to open up the bid. And I'm repeating that word because that is where the solution lies. If you look at the valuations of other telcos, just like Safaricom, and by the way, I can guarantee you, even these guys who are buying us, they also want to sell to somebody else. Mm-hmm. Because the T-Salat initially actually wanted to buy them.
Yeah.
But that is besides the point. The point is that if you use all the canons of valuing a company, a bank has the way they are valued in terms of price to book based on the core capital. Telcos has the way they are valued. And the simple term I may use is something called a PE ratio, price of earning ratio. Safaricom, by end of this year, will have a PE ratio of 16.1. Let me break down what PE is in a minute. PE is like this, Jeff. You buy a flat for 10 million, 10 million shillings, new bar. So PE measures how long would it take you to recover your 10 million using the rent?
Right.
Now in terms of years.
Correct.
So how many years will it take you to recover your money after buying, let's say, this flat? So PE ratio of Safaricom is around 16.1 by end of their financial year. If you look at other companies like Orange, their PE ratio is over 33. The guys who are buying us, Vodafone, they are listed Vodacom themselves because that one is owned by the other one that is listed in the JSC.
Correct.
The best their PE ratio has been is the year either 2020 or 2022. It was 40 PE ratio. Currently it's negative because the guys who are buying us are actually making losses in their parent group. So my take is, I'm not even against these guys. Let's have a sequence where Kenya gets the best value. And
Babu.
the best value is as follows.
Yeah.
One, we may list Safaricom. I had proposed this when I had a chance back then.
Yeah.
List Safaricom in the London stock market, LSE, exposes to the global market, so people get to know there is this profound, nice company,
Great.
which is not just a telco, but a fintech, but also a tower company. Then from there, open only 3 months bid for people to bid. You'll see a T-Salat bidding, you'll see KKR bidding, Blackstone bidding. If Kenya gets more than the 2 or 4 billion, and we get 350 billion, don't we all benefit as Kenyans?
Absolutely.
Jeff,
And why, Babu, wherever Bob is right now, he must be spinning in his grave.
I know, Jeff, and it's quite unfortunate when it comes to selling of Safaricom, privatization. I would disagree with it because if you ask me, Jeff, that a nation should never sell high important assets.
Yeah.
Number one, Jeff, we are selling this to Vodacom, a South African company. Safaricom is making close to around 300 billion annually. Then 50% of this money, we are selling 15% to Vodacom, but remember that there are other foreign investors who've invested in Safaricom.
Correct.
Therefore, it means that close to 50% of these 300 billion will be leaving the country into foreign countries.
Yeah.
It means that this money is leaving our country. If we would have sold Safaricom to a Kenyan, it would be better because that money stays in the country. Now, what are the effects of selling Safaricom to a foreign country? Number one, it promotes foreign absorption. Where money is lost from our nation to the foreign countries. Number two, the foreigners have power over this company. They can do anything with it. They have power to fire employees. Today, if they decide that they are not employing and they are firing employees, they will do so confidently. Why? Because they are the new owners as foreigners, should they come together and do probably a hostile takeover. Then it means, Jeff, that Kenyans can even lose jobs as a result of that. This money that we are losing annually of close to around 150 billion Kenya shillings can do so much in our country. Number two, this money is sent to foreign countries in terms of dollars, right?
Yes.
So there is destabilization of the exchange rate. So that again brings a problem. Then there's another one which is being sold, which is the pipeline. You sell pipeline, it tells you that once it has been bought by a foreigner, then this person has powers to increase the cost of transportation of fuel and fuel products. The moment fuel cost is raised, it means that that cost will be met at the pump. Once it is met at the pump,
it's us who suffer.
Then it means that anything that is capable of being transported, any good or service, will go up. Then that means that there will be high cost of living. Even to a farmer in the farm, the tractors which are going there, the moment the cost of fuel is high, the tractors working on the farm, it will force the farmer to pay them because of labor and will factor that money in the price of unga, for example, the maize. Okay? The fertilizer's cost will go high because its transport cost has gone high. It means that that maize that is produced, that sukuma wiki that is produced, the price will go up. What does that do to a common mwananchi? It makes them unaffordable to a common mwananchi. Therefore, if you ask me, there are those companies that may be privatized, but they are fundamental companies that cannot be privatized. Safaricom is the greatest.
That shouldn't be for sale.
That should not be.
It's a national asset.
National asset.
Real quick, Luo Kingpin ship. Real quick.
Jeff, if I want to talk about that, first of all, I want to take this opportunity to thank the great people of Nyanza region for having that trust. You saw the numbers, and numbers never lie. Numbers spoke, and that is why some of our party officials are so scared, because they've seen the numbers. Jeff, we were at 33%, followed by my father, Dr. Oburu Odinga, at 10%, Gladys Wanga at 7%, and the rest at 1%, the likes of Mbadi and Wandais at 1%, and Raymond Omolo 0.something%. Jeff, that tells you clearly. But leave the Luo kingpin aside. I want to be a national kingpin, a Kenyan kingpin. That is the most important thing, Jeff, because we want to transform lives for Kenyans, irrespective of where they come from. A Luo in Kisumu experiences the same challenges as a Kikuyu in Kiharu constituency, as a Somali in Garissa, and every other place. Kenyans experience the same challenges. The challenges of corruption, challenges of unemployment, challenges of high cost of living.
Challenges of people pulling a gun on you.
Challenges of people pulling a gun on you.
What was that about, real quick?
It is about this leadership. And that was an occupational hazard. And Jeff, I want to tell you that as Babu Owino, the way I handled myself is because some of us have come from far. We've seen what damage these things can cause. And at the same time, Jeff, if David in the Bible, who was anointed by Samuel, his own father Jesse never believed in him, Jeff, because all his brothers were called. Then Samuel said, there's someone missing here. The father did not remember that person and said, oh, there's one who is a shepherd. Bring that shepherd here. Jeff, if David would have been annoyed, if he would have become emotional that he wanted to dismiss or fight his father, he would have never been a king. The same time when he was going to the field to take lunch for his brothers who were going to fight Goliath, brothers told him, David, what are you doing here? You should be looking after the sheep. This is not your war. If he would have been emotional and fought his brothers, he would have never been a king. So sometimes, Jeff, the opinion of a sheep does not matter to a lion.
So what do we tell Robert Alai real quick? He's watching right now. What do you tell him?
Robert Alai is a leader, just like myself. And I want to tell you, Jeff, today, that I have no problems, not a single problem with Robert Alai. But I know there's a clearly cut pattern of violence that is being planned to be met on myself from the state. And it started at Kisumu, the sports ground, where one Raymond Omolo was organizing goons to beat me so that I don't go and view Baba's body. Number two, at Baba's burial, goons were organized so that I could not access. The same Raymond Omolo employs Alai on a weekly basis, given 300,000 Kenya shillings. So, Jeff, the same time you saw what happened. So I know there's a pattern. So this is a war against the state. It is the state that is against me.
Are you worried for your health, for your safety?
Jeff, that is the least of my worries. Why? Because you and I, Jeff, at one point, we will leave. We will go. The question is, as you live, as you die, one day, because we will die, memento mori, that at the right time, everybody's time will come to pass. Before we die, the question is, what legacy do you want to leave? I want to leave a legacy of transforming lives to the better. I want to be that person that will change evil into good, will change challenges into solutions. That is the most important thing for me, but not about death. Death, even Baba Raila Amolo Odinga. And by the way, that is the last boss that I've had. I will never have any other boss again. That man, we never believed Raila could leave us. But Jeff, life is so fickle.
Yeah, I died too, you know, at some point.
You died too the other day, but...
Didi, what are your plans? What's your ambition? Is Moranga too small for you? You want to go the whole hog?
It's not small, neither the job I have is either not small, because many people look for the positions we occupy. We are privileged to have that opportunity. Even when I vied to be MP for Kiharu, especially in my first term, we were a lineup of many qualified Kenyans. And I am glad that I got that opportunity. So it's a big job, and I am very, very privileged and grateful to have it. And in generality, Jeff, what I can say, and especially because I know there are many young, youthful politicians who are watching us, and those who would want to venture into politics. Just to share my opinion out of experience, I have seen that in Kenya, we have a very high supply of aspirants of whatever position, which is good. I mean, that is democracy. But we have a lot of work to do in having leaders in waiting. I want you to have those two definitions, and especially those who are watching, especially those who want to venture into politics. I have been involved in even the national campaign, as you know.
Yes.
I have been involved in my own campaign, being elected. And I have come to observe that many times we are very obsessed with wanting to gain power. And therefore we put in all our resources in capturing power. And power is important because you can't bring about change when you don't have the instruments of power. But I've seen, and especially given this campaign that we did, you can easily get elected, but probably you are not prepared from day one. So when you get elected in whichever position, MP, president, governor, and you had not actually figured out, and you are not a leader in waiting in terms of you already understood the job, you prepared for it, what ends up happening is that a lot of time is spent doing nothing because the leader is being capacitated, first of all, in terms of learning. Yeah. Let me bring this home because I want to do it with as much respect as possible to everyone. When President Kibaki took over, you could tell the man was prepared. He was prepared because he was around and he had reserved time to also know what Kenya needs. So that's why immediately he was sworn in. Within 100 days, we had free basic education. So if you realize now the same, you put it in this economy now, you realize we have spent so much time learning in the job. So when you spend so much time learning in the job, then you ask yourself as a leader, to whose advantage is that? Because by the time you are being employed by the Kenyan people, you must be very ready that from day one, you're already doing some changes. So I've been taking a lot of time, and I can tell you in terms of even talking to so many leaders about this, and also talking to myself, that Kenya, in whatever position, whatever our aspirations, be that person who, if you're called for the job today, do you have the capacity to do it in terms of, do you understand Kenya, what Kenya needs, or do you understand your constituency,
are you ready?
MP, whatever it is, so that by the time it comes, you can do the changes.
Okay, Didi, break it down for me, real quick, break it down for me. Governor Maranga?
I'm looking for better words and an answer that is not a political answer.
Go on.
The way I run my politics, Jeff, because all of us have their own arena.
Give me a quick answer.
Is that the job you already have, do it so well. And don't waste so much time thinking about yourself. Think about Kenya first. And I can tell you without breaking of an eye, every time you do your job that well, just the same way you do it here,
yes,
things align for you in many respects. So as it is now, and I'm not giving you a political answer, that is from my heart. I do my job as MP for Kiharu the best way I can.
Okay.
I offer alternative, even for the national leadership in terms of policies, like the one I've done for
What party? What party?
Party?
What party would you run?
Jeff, it is too early.
Oh, man.
We are 15 months to elections.
17. I counted it today.
17, eh?
Yeah, August, yeah.
And I'm sure this bench will still be around.
We'll be smoking.
In terms of, it's not even the right strategy to think about that now.
Well, Babu wants to be governor of Nairobi. We all know this. Ask Dimples.
Exactly the point.
Not,
Everybody...
Not once will be.
Babu, what party?
Jeff, let me come and then I explain this, because Babu's name is bigger than any political party in this country. If you go to Garissa, they know Babu Owino. So I'm saying with a lot of humility, and allow me to be humble.
Yes.
Jeff, a story is told in the book of Matthew 25:14-30, that a master had his 3 servants. He wanted to be crowned as a king at a nearby place. Then he called his 3 servants. To the first servant, he gave 5 minas. To the second servant, he gave 2 minas. And to the last servant, he gave 1 mina. Then he went. He was crowned a king, came back. Then he called the 3 servants and asked them, whatever I gave you, the little that I gave you, how did you spend it?
Yes.
The first servant said, you gave me 5. I doubled it, invested it, and here are the 10. And that servant was given 10 cities to take care of. The second servant said, you gave me 2. I've invested it, here are 4. He was given 4 cities to take care of. The last servant said that, Master, I knew you. I knew that you're a very bad person. And I knew that if you come back, you would ask for your money. Therefore, I dug a hole and hid it. Here it is. Then the master did what? Sent away that servant, because that servant was an irresponsible servant.
And he took
like Wamadimples. Like Wamadimples. And that is why the saying goes, the little that you have shall be taken away from you and given to those who have. Jeff, I want to tell you that in the beginning there was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God himself. That is John 1:1. And lastly, Jeff, a seed has a potential of becoming a forest. When you take a seed and you plant it, that seed will be a tree. That tree will produce many fruits and seeds. Those seeds will produce many other trees. Those trees will form a forest. And I want to tell you today, Jeff, without blinking, that the juice is what the squeeze in Nairobi City County, that the Nairobi City County is a graveyard of garbage, is a cemetery of corruption, and we must correct those wrongs. And today I will tell you, Jeff, and I tell you today before the Almighty God, by God's grace, that we are going to be the next governor of Nairobi. But again, I will leave a window, because I received around 9,000 messages, inbox, 9 million, not 9,000, 9 million, telling me to go for president. Then 8.9 telling me to go for governor. Then 5 million telling me that I tell Didi to be my deputy. Or, but you've seen even messages, they're saying between Didi and Babu.
Yes.
Ndindi can be president, Babu can be deputy,
Exactly.
Babu can be president, Ndindi can be deputy. But by
correct.
the end of the day,
Correct.
there's still a window
There's a
that
window.
we can decide. And if we decide because we are two great leaders,
Yes.
with number one, intellect, the qualities required, both of us, we have it. Number two, political acumen. Number three, we have the passion and energy to work for the people.
And you have youth on your side.
The youthful vote. Oh my.
Oh my.
And finish somebody.
Fantastic. Guys, we're going to take a quick break. All of this coming back with business and sports, and then we'll come back with more feedback. So, my goodness, can't make this stuff up. Business News up next.